Hello and good morning, everyone. Hi, welcome back to my channel. Hi, welcome if you're new. My name is Clara. So someone in my last video posted commented if I could do a birth video, which like a birth story, which I wasn't gonna do at first, but I was like, she asked, and I like talking about it. Honestly, I had such an enjoyable experience with my birth that I feel like I should talk about it because I feel like a lot of women don't, and that makes it scary when you go online and you just hear OMG. Don't get me wrong, I know a lot of women have bad experiences, or it's hard. Birth is hard. But how scary is it to go online looking for a birth experience and all you see is the scary stuff, you know? I want to hear about good things too. I'm also cleaning beans, so if you hear throughout the video, if it cuts out at any point, it's because I probably had to edit out me helping my baby. She's down here with me. She's down on the floor doing some tummy time. Well, right now she's on her back because she was already fussing 2 seconds into tummy time. And I don't really like to do tummy time if I can't be sitting right next to her. Just because, yeah, she gets bored. That's the issue when she does it, honestly, she gets bored. But let's get into it. So my baby was born on January 15th, which is funny. Let me tell you a story about that. I know, you guys know, I sidetrack a lot. That's what I do. She was due to be born January 25th, which is my mother-in-law's birthday, fun fact. So that was exciting. That was oh wow, how cute would that be, you know? And my dad and my whole family was she's gonna be born either before the 15th or on the 15th. And I was like, why are you guys saying that? I literally kept telling them the closer it got to the 15th. I was like, stop, I'm not ready to give birth. Yeah, mama. She's just talking a little. I'm gonna give her a mic. She's telling you guys her side of the story. But so I was like, please stop. I'm not ready. I mean, yeah, birth is scary, man. Especially, I feel especially the first time, because you hear the stories and you actually, nothing can prepare you to go into labor and give birth. It doesn't matter how many classes you take, what midwife you have, what doula you have. No, it doesn't matter. So me and my fiance went on a hospital tour. Well, me and my husband, we went on a hospital tour January something, not that far from when I gave birth, funny enough. So we did our hospital tour or whatever. My plan originally going into birth was no epidural. That's what I wanted. I wanted to go on natural. I researched the side effects. It affects the baby, and I was just kind of I'd rather not. But I did go in with an open mind. If I needed it, I needed it. Spoiler alert, I needed it. Of course. It's funny though, I tell my husband, I was like, if I start asking for it, we need a safe word, so you know, I'm not just saying it to say it, because when I get nervous, I talk a lot. I'll be honest, I don't think I really made a single peep other than cuss words when I was in labor. So whatever, going on. So the morning of the 14th, I lost my mucus plug. If you're a woman, you know what that is. If you're not a woman, you don't know what that is. Search it up if you want. I'm not explaining that. Well, no, I guess I can explain it. It's not that big of a deal. It's exactly what it sounds like, mucus. It's down there in your private area, and it's basically what holds together your water. It's the plug. That's why it's called the mucus plug. So it came out the morning of the 14th, but even though your mucus plug comes out, it could mean labor is either right away gonna start coming, or you can go weeks after losing your mucus plug and not going into labor. So I had just lost, it wasn't a lot, and honestly, this was my first baby. I had no clue how big it was supposed to be, how little, whatever. So I have a home nurse because my city offers a program for first-time pregnant women, that you have a home nurse who just helps you throughout the pregnancy and helps you throughout the first year of your baby's life. Because when it's your first kid, I mean, most first-time parents, everybody knows you're anxiety-ridden, especially with the first pregnancy. So I texted her and I was like, hey, I lost my mucus plug. And she tells me, she's like, okay, call your OBGYN, see if they can get you in today just to check, make sure you're not dilated or anything. She's like, you feeling any contractions? Mind you, I'd never had a contraction in my life. And I was like, no, I don't think so. Side note, I'd been having lower back pain since the day before, starting the 13th. Yeah, mamash. But I thought it was just trapped gas. That's what it felt like. Because I would burp or I would shimmy around a little and it would go away. And then it would come back a little later, but it was nothing intense. It was labor. So I call my OBGYN and I tell them, and they just tell me, okay, cool. Like, we'll see you the 15th. Because I was already due to go in anyways. No, I made an appointment for the 15th. That's the earliest they were going to see me. You okay, mommy? Yeah? You're just like, oh yeah, mama, so many side stories. And they're like, okay, no, we'll just see you on the 15th, like, you're okay. And I was like, okay, I guess. So then, whatever, I go throughout the day, I make dinner, whatnot. And then I, all day, had been like, dang, I need to pee. Like, no matter what I was doing, I was going to the restroom and trying to pee. It was from the pressure that the baby was putting on my bladder because she'd already descended down. But I didn't know that. So I would literally sit on the toilet for like 30 minutes being like, what the hell? Like, I need to pee, I need to poop. Like, what is going on? But nothing was happening. I'm cleaning 4 cups of rice, by the way. So I was like, whatever, I guess. Like, I'll just deal with that. So then my husband, had gone to bed around 8 o'clock because he worked that night. Well, he was asleep most of the day. I woke him up, told him I'd probably have to go to the doctor, but then I had let him know, you know what, they weren't able to get me in. And he was like, okay, like, it's okay. Sorry, let me fix the baby really quick. Okay, sorry. I'm so worried about her having a flat head. She's not going to. I mean, she gets picked up a lot. We do a good amount of tummy time. I don't know. It's like a fear in me that I'm like, oh my god, my baby's gonna have a flat head. She has this, the Hungry Caterpillar Busy book. Oh my god, she's obsessed with it. She loves it. She's a little behind in like reaching up to grab toys, but I think that's my fault. I really like never offered her toys as a little baby, like, because I was like, she can't even play with them. I should have, because she's barely kind of starting to be like, oh, let me reach and play with this little toy. Her busy caterpillar book, oh, she likes to reach for it. It was funny. Yesterday, it looked like she was trying to put it in her mouth. I thought it was kind of cute. Okay, going back. Where was I? Okay, so then he was back asleep, and he had woken up for a little bit, and then he had gone back to bed around 8 o'clock, I want to say. And I couldn't sleep. I was like, oh, like, why am I so awake? My husband works the night shifts, so he was due to get up he was going to get up at like 10:30, because I think he was going to get up at 11, because he went in at midnight that day, because I want to say, I don't know why. No, I don't know. He was going to go in like 11, 12. So I think he was going to get up at like 10:30. He was getting up at 10, but then he decided to go back to bed. There we go. That's what he was doing. I was like, for some reason he was in bed asleep, even though he wasn't supposed to be. So then it's like 10:15, and I'm like, oh, like, I need to pee again. So I get up, and I'd been had trouble getting comfortable. I wouldn't say I was in pain. I was in no pain whatsoever. Just that little gassy feeling, but just gas, you know? It was like, not like, oh, I have gas. It was just like, damn, I got gas. I think I drank like 3 sodas that day trying to get rid of the gas feeling. But so I go to the restroom, and I was sitting on the toilet for a really long time trying to pee, and I just couldn't pee. I was like, what the hell? So I was like, whatever. Like, I think I tinkled a little, and then I was like, okay, like, I'm gonna go back to bed. I'm tired. So then I go to clean myself, and there's blood all over the tissue. And as a pregnant woman, you see blood, and your first thought is like, F word. I'm losing the baby, you know? And I was like, I was freaking out. I was like, you're joking. Like, I was 38 weeks and 4 days. I was like, I literally have less than 2 weeks to go before I'm due, like, at my 40 weeks. Like, you're kidding. So I was trying not to cry, and I called my mom on the phone, and I was like, can you please come to the restroom? Like, I didn't want to call, like, for my husband, because I knew the second I did, I was just going to be like a crying mess and not be able to get a single word out. So my mom comes like running down the hall because plus I was so close already due to giving birth, and that's what she automatically thought. And she comes in and I'm already crying. I was crying, and I just show her the tissue because I mean she's a woman, she understands. And I show her the tissue and I'm crying. My brother's about to come out. He's got to get his lunch. I'm recording a video, okay? Just letting you know. You can come in. I'm just letting you know. And so I'm crying, and she's like, oh my God. She's like, you need to go to the hospital. And I was like, I called the worst person. She freaked me out even more. So then she runs into the room, and plus my husband's name is Ivan. I'm sure you guys know that. And she's like, Ivan, wake up. You need to take her to the hospital. And all he heard was hospital. So he shot out of bed, and he's like, what's going on? What's going on? And he's like, okay. Like, he didn't even question it. I'm there in the restroom crying my heart out. And so he, like, was getting dressed. And he was smart. While he got dressed, he was calling his work. And he, one of his supervisors had already let him know, like, hey, I know it's getting really close to her due date. If anything happens, call me. I live right down the street. I'll go in. Like, if I went into labor while he was at work or something. So then he calls him, and he's like, we need to go to the hospital. I don't know what's going on, but, like, we need to go to the hospital. So he's like, okay, don't worry about it. Like, I got you covered. Bye, Nanda. Have a good day. Which he tells me on the way to the hospital, because I started crying because I was like, you're busy. You're going to be, like, late for work. I'm so sorry. And he's like, no, it's okay. Like, I already called. And I was like, okay. I just felt bad. I was like, oh, my God, he's going to get in trouble. You okay, little mama? Because I won't lie, I think throughout my pregnancy, I made him late a handful of times because I was crying about the fact that he had to go to work. I was like, not late day. So I was like, oh my God. Like, this is gonna, no table, get down. Get down. So, we're driving on our way to the hospital. Oh, my dad was like throwing all the because I was like, take the hospital bags just in case, like, you don't know. So my dad is throwing, hi, mama. All the hospital bags in the car. I packed, plus you guys saw how much I packed. And my dad was going to take me originally because my mom wanted to go with me, but then my husband was like, no, like, I'm going to take her, like, meet us there. There's 2 hospitals here, like, labor and delivery hospitals, basically right down the street from each other. Don't know why, but there is. We thought I was going to give birth at the one that my doctor was, like, associated, like, this with. She's associated with the other one too. Like, she had privileges at that one too. But we were just confused. So my parents went into that one, and they're like, Clara Rodriguez, you know? And they're like, no, ma'am. And they're like, my daughter said that she's already in a room. Or, like, in, like, the little waiting area or whatnot. And they're like, no. So then my parents are calling us, and it was a whole mess. I felt so bad because we, like, confused everybody. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I was like, I didn't even know there were different hospitals, not gonna lie. I honestly thought they were the same hospital. But, so we get there. On our way there, I also called his parents, and I was like, hey, I don't know if I am, but, like, we are on our way to the hospital, just letting you know. And they're like, okay, like, let us know. Hi, Mama. I love you. Oh, yeah? It's just so cute. It's just like, yeah, it was so fun. We're on the ride to the hospital. So then we get there, and they tell us when I called, because I called that I was on my way, and they're like, okay, going through the ER room, they'll take your vitals, and then we'll go ahead and pick you up. Like, we'll go down there and get you. And I was like, okay. We did not. We went in through, like, the emergency 24/7 entrance, but it's like, I guess that one was more for healthcare workers. Thank God there was a man still in the office, like, finishing up work at 10:30 at night. Bless that man. And he's like, I'll go ahead and take you. Like, this happens a lot more than you would think. And we're like, oh my God, thank you so much. And he tells me, he's like, do you want a wheelchair or do you want to walk? And I was like, I'll walk. Like, I don't know what's going on. I'll walk. I didn't want to be in a wheelchair because then I think I was going to start crying. Like, you know, because I still thought I was losing the baby. Never once in my head was I like, I'm in labor. I was like, I'm losing my baby. Because of the blood. The blood is what freaked me out. If there wasn't blood, I wouldn't have been, like, crying. You know what I mean? So then, we're walking. Oh, I should have taken the wheelchair. It was such a long freaking walk. I was like, oh my god, kill me. Like, we had to stop like 3 times because I was so out of breath. I was like, wait, give me a second. So we get there, and I tell the girl, like, I don't know, I'm bleeding. I'm 38 weeks and 4 days. And she's like, okay. So what they do at the hospital I was in is they put you in like a little, it's the recovery room. It's the entrance and the recovery room. Because, like, if you get a C-section, that's where they put you to recover for a few hours. And then when you first go in, that's where they put you to make sure you're actually in labor before they go and prepare a room and stuff like that. So they put me in that one, and the doctor comes in, and she's like, okay, I'm going to check your cervix, which freaked me out because I think a week before, yeah, because at that time I was going to the doctors every week. They had checked my cervix for the first time. Oh, and it hurt like hell. That did hurt. I hated cervical checks. Well, I was scared. So I was like, oh my god. Like, that was literally part of my list. I wanted no unnecessary cervical checks. Sorry, this video is a lot longer than it needs to be. But, so I was like, okay. Like, freaking out, but I was like, she needs to do what she needs to do. They used some weird little machine, so they also, like, did a membrane sweep and whatnot. So it really didn't hurt. And I was like, oh, cool. And they were like, you're 4 centimeters dilated. And I don't know what that means. So I was like, okay, like, good, bad, maybe so. I know 10 is, like, on the way for the baby. And they're like, okay, we're going to have you here for 2 hours for observation. If you don't, like, open up anymore, then you're going to go home and labor it out at home. But if you do, then you're going to be admitted. And I was like, okay. And mind you, at this time, the only labor pains I'm having is that little bit of back pain. And I tell the doctor that. And she's like, you've been in labor for, like, 2 days. And I was like, oh, okay. So then me being cocky, I was like, this shit's gonna be easy, if that's what that was. No, I think my body just needed to be told that. It just needed to be told, like, hey, you're in labor. Because after she checks, oh, hell. And I know I said I had a great birth experience. Don't get me wrong. Contractions are hell. Okay? But mind you, I went into this saying, I don't want an epidural. So I was hitting it out. So every time the nurse or the doctor would come check on me, they literally told me, like, oh, you're staying. And I was like, okay, put me in a room then. And, but they still had to make sure. So it comes up like the 2 hours. Well, no, it was about an hour and a half. And it's because my contractions were relatively not too close together. Because I'll be honest, I was sitting there on my phone, like playing my little block game. And then the contraction would come in. I was like, God, kill me. Sorry. And, so then she comes in at the hour and a half, and she's like, okay, I'm going to check you. Mind you, I'm having, like, a low-key panic attack. I'm not ready to give birth. We didn't go to any breathing classes. I poked ass on signing up, and by the time it was time, all the ones for that month had passed. And I was like, whoopsies. So I know nothing about birthing, because with my home nurse, I think I was supposed to see her, like, 2 days later. That's when we were going to go over, like, birthing positions and, like, more like intense breathing techniques, because we had done like the ice thing, which honestly did help me like with breathing wise. You okay? I love you, little mama. I'm almost done. So yeah, so I was like, oh no. So then she goes and she's like, okay, I'm gonna check you. For some reason, I could not get my legs to open. I closed those little bitties up so tight, and she's like, come on. And I was like, I'm sorry. And I'm like shaking, and it was horrible. So then she like checks, she goes in and checks, but I guess I was just shaking too much and moving too much. She couldn't really get a good one. So then she goes and gets another nurse. That freaked me out even more. I was like, why do you need a second nurse? Instead of just telling me like, girl, you're moving too much. She's like, I'm gonna go get somebody really quick. So I was like, oh my God. Okay, I got my 4 cups. So I was like, oh my God. So then they come and they're like, yeah, you're about 4.5, 5. Like, we can't really get too good. You're like moving a little too much. And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm really trying not to. I'm just like, I'm stressed. And they're like, it's okay. Like, it happens all the time. So I loved my nurse. I think that really helped too with like my birth experience. My nurse was pretty young, honestly. I don't know how old she was, I didn't ask, but she looked young, and we were vibing really cool, so I think that really helped. And it's funny, because when I first got in, I asked her, like, are you going to be here, like, when I give birth? And they're like, you're a first-time mom. We have a lot of moms in labor for, like, 12 hours, a whole day, you know, like, probably not. And I was like, oh, man, like, okay. Which I knew, like, I'd always seen, like, you're never going to have the same nurse, whatnot. Yeah, mamas. So then I was like, okay, whatever. Spoiler alert, I got the same nurse. I'll tell you why. So they moved me into a room, and as they're moving me into the room, the doctor comes in, she's talking to me, and I was like, hey, I'm just letting you know, like, my mom and my grandma had extremely fast births. My mom's birth, labor to finish with each baby was about 2 hours. And she's like, you're a first-time mom, that's most likely not going to happen. Like, don't prepare yourself for that. And I was like, okay. But I'm letting you know that's, like, my family history with, like, birth from my maternal side. And she's like, okay, like, whatever. So I'm in the room laboring. We get in the room about 2 a.m. by the time they move me. The nurse comes, checks on me. I was laboring for the most part on the toilet. It was so comfortable. So the nurse comes in around, I want to say 4:30. And she's like, hey, like, here's a comb. You can go ahead and hold on to it, like, for the pressure. And I was like, okay, thank you. She's like, I'm going to have to move you to the bed. Our Bluetooth readers aren't reading. And she's like, I'll come in like an hour to do it. I guess she got busy because she didn't come in until 5. I want to say she came in at 5. And she's like, okay, like, how you doing? And I was like, I'm okay. Oh, because we called them because I was moving from the restroom back to the bed. Just for me to move back into the restroom, because when I got up and was leaving the restroom, a huge blood clot came out, and I was like, what was that? So my husband called them, and they're like, hey, can you please come in here? So then they do that. I'm in the bed, and I'm like laboring, and I was thrashing around. My hair was so tangled. I was like, ah. And like, if it got really bad, instead of holding the comb, I was like going like that for some reason. I don't know. I like was so like tender for like the next few days, because I guess I was going hard, like, to try to like move the pain. But so then she was like, okay, like, so she checked it. She's like, that's normal. She walks out. She comes back in around 5:30, and she's like, I was back on the toilet by this point, of course. She's like, hey, why don't you want to get the epidural? Like, is there a medical reason? Is it religious belief? Like, what's going on? She's like, you're in a lot of pain. Every time I've come and checked your vitals, your blood pressure like shoots up. Because when I went in, my blood pressure was great. My whole pregnancy, I had great blood pressure, thank God. Like, a lot of the times I'd get it, they're like, are you pregnant, girl? And I was like, do I look pregnant? Yes, I'm pregnant. You know. But my blood pressure was great, and she's like, it's shooting up. Like, you're really stressing yourself out. Oh, because they had also told me, when I was in the 2-hour waiting room, they were like, okay, the baby's heartbeat is, like, disappearing every once in a while. It most likely means the cord is wrapped around her neck. And that, like, stressed me out. Even though they told me don't let it, like, the umbilical cord, a lot of times it just slips off. Like, they're able to just right off. She's like, it's like a piece of silk. It's nothing, don't worry. But it did stress me out. I mean, that's a scary thing to hear. Hi, mamas. And so I was like a little stressed. And I was like, no, I just really didn't want to get it. And she's like, are you sure? And I was nervous. I was scared. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get it. And my husband like peeks his head around and he's like, are you sure? And I was in a really bad contraction started, because you'll see right now. And I was like, yes, I want it. And she's like, okay, like, I already told you it's going to take 30 minutes for the anesthesiologist to get here, 30 minutes for it to kick in. And I was like, okay, like, I heard you. So that whole conversation took quite a while, actually. So by that time, I want to say it was like 6 a.m. No, that's a lie. It was not 6 a.m. It was still 5:30ish. But it did take a while, that conversation. At least I think. I don't remember, like, time frames, really. I remember here and there's. Yeah, mamas, I love you. Oh, I know, you're just getting sick of the floor. I'm going. I almost finished. We're almost there to the birth of the beautiful baby. And so then, so I guess they kind of had anticipated me, because we had heard him in the hallway talking, because it sounded like my cousin Chanito. I was like, is Chanito here? Like, what the hell? And he's like, right, it sounds like him. And I was like, I know. It was the anesthesiologist. So, because he came in, I want to say like 15 minutes later, and it's because I was cussing. I was like, where the fuck is he? And I literally was like, fuck this man. Like, it was so bad. I was so mean. I felt so bad. I hope he didn't hear me. I was like cursing him out, even though he was the one who was going to go help me. So he comes in, and then they tell my husband, sir, you need to leave the room, because it's a huge needle. That's also why I didn't want it. I'm terrified of needles. I was in labor pain. They're putting all my IVs and whatnot, and I was still crying about the IVs. That's how scared I am of needles. In labor, I was scared more about the needles. And so I was like, oh my god, he has to leave. Like, I was hoping he was going to get to hold my hand, and they're like, no, he needs to leave. Honestly, I think the assumption is two things. It needs to be sterile because they like do a whole sterilized little thing. And three, plus that's scary to look at that being put in your partner. So of course I feel like a lot of partners would be like, stop, like what are you doing? You're gonna hurt her. So he leaves, whatnot. He's like right outside the room, he told me. And so they tell me like, you need to curl up in a ball and you cannot move. And I was like, oh shit, like I'm ruining this. Because I was thrashing around, you know, in the bed during my pain. I guess that position really helped me. I stayed so still. And like I said, my nurse was such a great support. I should go back and like give her a gift because I mean she was amazing. And she's joking to me while he's doing the epidural because I'm like crying because I'm scared. And she's like, I guess I am gonna get to see your labor. Like, ha ha ha, I told you I wasn't. And I was like, I know, like, yay. So he's doing it, and they do like a little test run to make sure the needle's in right. And he's like, it squirted at me. It's never done that. Like, if it gushes, it gushes. But he says mine just like spit out. And he's like, okay, like, you need to let me know if you feel anything, whatnot. And I was like, okay. And while he's putting it in, I'm not gonna lie, I started feeling like that little ring of fire. I wasn't gonna say shit. Because I know once you start feeling like that, they can't do it anymore. And I was like, nope, I'm getting this. Nobody is stopping me. So, like, that's happening, whatever. Oh, just get the hickey ups. Just get the hickey ups, mama. So, so we're there, and then they put it in. My husband comes back in, and the girl's filling out, like, whatever little paperwork on the computer, and I tell her, I'm like, hey, I feel a lot of pressure. And she's like, okay, I'm gonna let the epidural kick in a little more. I guess I scared her when she checked my cervix the first time, because she hadn't checked it at all since that time that they moved me, like, into the room and whatnot. And I was like, okay. And so she goes and she checks, and she's like, you're 9.5 centimeters dilated. And I was like, boom. I almost went the whole way without it. Like, I was so happy. I was so proud of myself. Bless you. Bless you. It's getting kind of windy. I think I gotta close the doors right now. So then I was like, okay. And then I tell her, like, she comes back in like 10 minutes later, and I was like, hey, I feel a lot of pressure. And so she goes and looks, and she like goes in about this much, like right here. And she's like, I can feel the baby, but she's still in her sac, and my water hadn't broken. She's like, so that's probably gonna hold the baby in until your water breaks. Thankfully, they didn't offer to break my water because I didn't want them to. Like, I wanted it to happen naturally. So I was like, okay. And so then she started doing her computer stuff, whatever. And I tell her again, like 5 minutes later, 5-10 minutes. And I was like, hey, I feel a lot of pressure. So she goes and she lifts it up, and she's like, yep, I can see baby's head. I'm gonna go ahead and call the doctor. And I was like, okay. Like, I guess they could see like her hair like coming out like that, you know what I mean? But she's still in her sac, mind you. So then the nurse is telling me, like, that's probably why you felt all that pressure to pee and whatnot, like in the sac. It's not just the baby now, it's the whole thing. And I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. I've spent a lot of the time trying to pee and poop. Mind you, TMI, I did poop. Not on the table, way before, which thankfully did relieve actually a lot of pressure. I was like, oh, thank God. So I didn't poop on the table. I was very happy about that. I was nervous because I wanted my doctor, the doctor I had, a sneak peek when I go to my checkup, like 5 days later, I think it was, no, like a week later, I want to say. They never even called my doctor. They were supposed to call her. She had rights with that hospital. They never called her because when I was like, hey, I gave birth, like, why weren't you there? She was like, excuse me? And I was like, yeah, I gave birth. That's why I'm here for my postpartum checkup. And she's like, nobody called me. Like, I never got a call. I never got an email, nothing. And I was like, oh, well, surprise, Shadi. So I was upset about that. I wish they would have called her because I did not like the doctor that gave birth. He didn't say, like, more than 2 words to me. Oh, because he goes in, like, an hour after they put me in the room. And he's like, just get the epidural. Like, what are you trying to prove? And I was like, damn. Like, I literally yelled at him. I was like, no. So then he left the room very fast after that. Mind you, I never thought to be rude to a doctor. They save lives. Like, it's a doctor. So then they prepared that room so fast. Like, I literally blinked and the room was in there. All the nurses were in there. Like, the nurses that needed to be in there had my nurse, the doctor, the nurse for the baby when she comes out, and an extra nurse that I guess was like filling out paperwork or something. So there's about 4 people and my husband. So I was like, hey, I didn't want to give birth on my back. Like, I wanted to do a squatting position, like on all 4s. And they're like, you just got the epidural. Like, if it had been a few hours, we could have, but like, no, it's too risky. Mind you, I could still move my legs. But it was whatever. I was like, okay, I guess, like, I understand the risk. Like, I'm not going to take it because, you know, I could, like, collapse or slip off the bed and not even feel it. So I was like, okay. So they put me on my back, they put my legs up, and they're like, okay, are you ready? Like, the doctor's like, no pushing yet, just breathe. And I was like, okay. And I was like, I feel a lot of pressure, like, please. And he's like, okay, you're gonna go ahead and push now, because they strapped me into the other thing. So now it's telling them when my contractions are coming. And so they're like, okay, get ready to push. This is when I scream out, I don't know how to push. I was like, I didn't do any of the classes. Like, I was like, everyone says it just comes to you. I'm like, nothing's coming. I was like, my PDF did not download, guys. Like, I'm freaking out. I was like, I don't know how to push. I don't know how to push. And the nurse is like, okay, tuck your head in, hold your breath, and push like you're pooping. So that's what I did. I pushed like I was pooping. I did. She's like, you do it for 3 times. Like, and then take a break. I did that 3 times. Nothing was happening. I was like, damn, I'm gonna be pushing for hours. I've heard of women who push for hours. So then it's like my 4th go around, and they're like, okay, push again now. I push, I feel the baby's head, you know, and they're like, okay, the head's here, the head's here. My husband is like crying, he's so happy. He's like, oh my god. And the doctor's like, slow pushes now. I yelled at him. That's the only thing he said to me that whole time, mind you. He's like, slow pushes now. I yelled at him, I don't even know how to push. And ploop, out popped the baby in like one like big thing basically. Thank God I didn't tear. Her like water popped as she was coming out. So the doctor said she scratched me a little, but I didn't tear. And yeah, my baby was born at 6:09 a.m. on the 15th of January. It was honestly such a pleasant experience. Like, yeah, the labor was hard, but I can tell you now, like, I'm so willing to do it again. Like, that little bit of pain for such a big amount of happiness was amazing for me. And now I get a happy little baby who's 3 months now. But yeah, my labor was great. So after all that happened, they wrapped my baby, we did skin to skin. I was a little sad though. We were so in the moment, me and my husband, that he didn't get to cut the cord. The doctor ended up cutting the cord. Which like even to this day now like makes me a little sad. I wish he could have gotten that like experience. I feel like that's a really special thing. But he has never told me about it, so I'm assuming he's not that upset about it. But yeah, that was like my experience with my labor. That video was a lot longer than it needed to be. But thank you guys for listening. Bye guys. See you for the next video.